Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video, we're going to learn how to create this delay effect using smart animations in Figma. So we're going to jump right ahead and we're going to focus first of all on the high level picture. So how is a project like this structured? As you can see, we have a first frame and then we have different frames for the different color animations. And if we go ahead and examine what's going on inside of the transitions effects, we're going to see that the very first frame is simply going to have a while hovering animation, which is going to navigate to the third frame with a smart animation. So this is going to essentially create the bridge between one and the other. And by the way, we're going to jump right into it and create this from scratch. But I just want to give you a high level view before we get started. And as you can see, we have an after delay animation for these other ones, which are going to essentially be all animated via the smart animation. So without further ado, let's actually jump right ahead and we're going to create this from scratch. So I'm simply going to delete all of these elements that we had previously connected. And we're going to start fresh. I'm also going to delete these lines in the background. And we're going to create a first rectangle. And we're going to keep things really simple for this animation. So I'm simply going to create this rectangle right here. And as you can see, extremely simple. We don't have any connection going on. And we're going to create a second frame, which is going to be of a different color so that we can really see how this animation is built up. So the very first thing that we need to do is to create a prototype connection. So I'm going to go under the prototype view and we're going to click on the plus and bring this connection to the second frame. Now, as you can see, this menu is going to open up and we have a few different options. The one that we're looking for initially is going to be either on click or while hovering. Now, I can initiate this while on click, it's totally fine. And this essentially means that whenever I'm clicking on this object, it's going to redirect to the very next frame. The while hovering simply tells Figma that when I'm hovering over this element, it's going to redirect to the next frame. So I don't even need to click. So we're going to simply leave it as is for now. And we're going to prompt the smart animation, which is essentially going to tell Figma, can you figure out a nice way to transition between this item right here and this one here, or even more specifically, this frame and this frame. So if we go ahead and we create, in this case, a new flow starting point, since we already have the first flow and I don't want to create conflicts, I'm simply going to click here on this icon to see the preview of this flow. And if I click, you can see how we have this smart animation set up and it's working pretty well. Now, at this point, what we can do is we can also change the color of this background. So if I go over here and I change the color of the background to something around these lines, and we go back to the prototype, and we're also going to make the smart animation, we can keep it as it is if we want a very smooth animation. If we want a faster animation, simply reduce this number. So let's go over here and I'm going to click and as you can see, not only the object is changing, but also the background. So quite easy, quite simple. And if we simply change and sample the same colors as the original, you're going to see that we're going to have a extremely similar effect. So you can do that at your own pace. I'm not going to focus on too much on sampling, the gradients in this case, but just to make a point that here is the initial state, and then if we click, we're going to go to the very next one. Now the question is, how do we make it like in the original, where the moment that I select the first transition, then the other ones are happening automatically without me having to click anything, and pretty much it's on autopilot. Now it's very easy. We are going to leverage the power of delays. Now delays, the way that they work is very similarly to what we just did. So we're going to go under prototype again, create a connection between this item right here and this one, and instead of on click or while hovering, we're going to go all the way down and we're going to select after delay. Now what that means is that this interaction, so bringing from this frame to this frame, is going to happen automatically after, in this case, 800 milliseconds. Now I wanted to reduce this number because actually I'm going to show you what happens if we keep it at even at 1000. So I'm going to simply change the color so that you can easily see what is changing, otherwise it won't really make a point. And we go back here and I click. You're going to see that after quite a lot of time, the change happened from this frame right here and this one. So this is essentially calibrated from the delay. Now if we reduce it to say 100 milliseconds, this means that it's going to transition much faster. So if you go back, they click, you can see that the transition now it's almost instant. So very easy. And I'm going to create one more frame over here. I'm going to simply sample the same colors as we have on this one. And one more time, let's create after delay. Let's set it to 100 milliseconds. Smart Animate 1250 milliseconds, so we can really get that smooth transition. And let's see how that works. Click, and then as you can see, we have this really nice transition. Now we are going to ask the question, how can I basically have this go back and basically loop infinitely without me having to do anything? So the way to do it this on autopilot is really simple. Simply create a connection between the third one and the first, which is going to be, surprise, surprise, after delay. We're going to set it to 100 milliseconds, and this is essentially going to create a loop, because we're saying to Figma, after 100 milliseconds, go to this one, then go to this one, and then from this one, go all the way back here, and then at this point, it's going to simply continue to this one, and it's going to create this infinite loop. So if you look at it in the prototype, you can see how now we created very easily this infinite loop with gradients, in this case, that are changing, but this can be applied to pretty much any type of prototype out there. So I hope this video was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to learn more about Figma, I'm a UI UX designer with over a decade of experience sharing my knowledge on both UI UX, Figma, freelancing business, and all of the goodies. So if you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to check out my other tutorials. I'm also quite active on other social like Twitter, Instagram. So I'm going to leave the link in the description, and I'll see you in the very next ones.